203 million people. This compares to an estimated 190 million unemployed in 2008. And that increase reflects growing discouragement in developed countries and a continued high level of working poverty in the developing regions. And the future on that front doesn't look too bright. Forecasters are predicting that when the economy does eventually recover, we'll see a jobless recovery as new technologies transform job requirements and people's skills worldwide lag the pace of change. Of course, providing educational training, professional training and development is exactly what direct selling excels at. So if anything, our opportunity is only growing greater and greater every single day. I continue to believe that this is a pivotal moment for the direct selling industry. And our personal goals have been over the last 3 years to help lay that groundwork that will further unleash success and overcome some of the barriers that have traditionally held us back in the past. In this regard, World Federation DSA's operating group has had 2 key areas of focus. The first is to aggressively implement the code of ethics to address the reputational issues and to send a very strong message that violations of our code of conduct will not be tolerated anywhere in the world. The second is to boldly and openly share our direct selling success stories of empowerment, talking the walk to build awareness and respect for our industry and position direct selling as the world's solution in these challenging economic times. Underpinning both these goals is an ongoing commitment to continue to support our DSAs and to help enhance DSA performances. 3 years ago, we committed to leading the aggressive implementation of our new long-range strategic plan, which laid out very clear governance guidelines for our industry to help improve processes and structures and strengthen the integration and alignment. A key part of that strategic plan was to ensure that all DSAs around the world met the minimum standards for a professionally managed, properly resourced organization that can credibly represent our industry to our consumers, government, and business communities. And over the past 3 years, World Federation DSA has partnered very closely with local DSAs to help facilitate the implementation of these minimum standards. Thanks to everyone's commitment and hard work, I am really proud to say that today the number of DSAs achieving all 8 of the minimum standards has increased from 41% in 2008 to nearly 70% in 2011. DSAs with a dedicated website have increased from 86% in 2008 to 100% full compliance in 2011. DSAs with a full or part-time staff have increased from 55% in 2008 to 73% in 2011. So thank you, everybody, for your great participation in this. I will talk a little bit more about our outstanding performance against these ethic goals in a minute, but overall, I think we should all feel very encouraged by this significant progress. Another area of focus has been to strengthen the CEO Council, which is the key governing body of our industry. I have had extraordinary help here. I've had Doug DeVos of Amway and Magnus Bronstrom of Oriflame both serving as our vice chairs, and Natura's Alessandro Carlucci serving as our treasurer. And with that, we've significantly enhanced the management breadth of the council. In fact, this was the very first time in our industry that 4 CEOs have served simultaneously on the council and the operating group. And I have to take an opportunity to publicly thank Doug, Magnus, and Alessandro. They are all extraordinary leaders whose partnership and support was just so critical over these last 3 years, helping our industry's agenda. So thank you. And in addition to adding management depth, we also significantly strengthened the qualifications to become a CEO Council member. 3 years ago, there were virtually no qualifications to join the Council, except pay the dues and be a member of one DSA. Today, prospective members must pledge that their company is currently or will be a full-time member of at least 75% of the DSAs in countries where they do business. Applicants must also disclose all regulatory actions related to the company's marketing practices, and they are required to sign a commitment that they will honor our industry's code of ethics. So we feel great about that. With a stronger CEO Council, we've begun to improve our industry's operating procedures. For example, instead of holding one global event every 3 years, we're moving to a regional format, such as this one right here in Istanbul, to enable more tailored content and action-oriented decision-making. And this meeting is the first in this new format. We're also making significant progress in strengthening our industry governance through new and revamped policies which cover conflicts of interest, whistleblowing, and financial procedures, just to name a few. So no doubt we are stronger and more professionally managed than we were 3 years ago. In my mind, the thing that has done the most to enhance our professionalism and our credibility is that we have finally began to really execute and walk the talk on ethics and our ethics agenda. When I assumed the chairmanship of World Federation DSA in 2008, we all stated unequivocally that the #1 priority needed to be to get the ethical house in order. We said that ethical violations were damaging our credibility as an industry, and that going forward we would adopt a policy of zero tolerance. We are committed to supporting our local DSAs with the resources and the tools to implement very strong ethics programs. And thank you to a lot of hard work by so many in this room, we've made a lot of progress. Virtually every single DSA around the world is now in compliance with the Federation's Code of Ethics. And this includes establishing the independent code administrators to monitor and enforce the code in local markets. We're pleased to report that 97% of DFSAs now have a code administrator in place. That's compared to 84% in 2008. So that is 58 out of 60 DSAs. We're proud of that. And all 60 DSAs, 100%, have posted the code on their website, compared with only about 50% in 2008. So we are almost there. To support local DSAs, the World Federation staff has created a comprehensive ethics toolkit that provides a blueprint on how to implement and communicate the code to consumer advocates, government officials, recruits, consumers, and employees. And the toolkit includes a very easy-to-read copy of the code, accompanied by short pamphlets summarizing the code customizable for each DSA. It also includes literature aimed at both the consumer and the distributor, easy PowerPoint presentations for use by DSAs and companies, and a comprehensive question and answer document for use by all. All of these materials are posted on the World Federation DSA website. World Federation DSA also provided financial subsidies for the translation of the ethics toolkit, which is now available in 10 languages. The ethics toolkit has so far been successfully rolled out in 15 countries across 3 continents, and this is only phase 1. Early reactions to the ethics toolkits have been very positive, extremely favorable, as you can see from these endorsements from DSAs in New Zealand, Malaysia, Ukraine, Russia. We have many more, but just to read a few. We have picked up a number of components that we had not implemented previously. New Zealand DSA. All companies found these practical materials useful at the right moment. The Ukraine DSA. The World Federation DSA Ethics Toolkit is universally applied instrument. Russia DSA. So these are just a few of the many, many positive comments we've received telling us how practical and useful these materials are and what a positive step forward this has been for our industry. Overall, I'm extremely encouraged by how quickly and effectively DSAs around the world have begun to leverage these materials to drive the ethics agenda. Brick by brick, we're reestablishing credibility and trust in direct selling. One of the most encouraging outcomes of our increased focus on ethics is that we are now in a far better position to talk about the success of our industry and all the good that we do. We strongly believe that we've got to proactively tell our story, and that has been a very critical priority for us over the last 3 years. Having said that, when I first stepped into this role in 2008, I think many of us saw immediately that we lacked viable global statistics for use by our local DSAs to support the story of our industry's growth. Our data collection was spotty at best, inconsistent year over year, largely due to under-resourced local DSA staffs and inconsistent methodologies. So to overcome all these challenges, we formed a focused research committee staffed with industry experts. We contracted an independent economic consulting firm and developed guidelines and parameters for the data collection process and today we're in a much better place. We're well on our way to having accurate and compelling data for use in markets all over the world. This will include year-over-year and compound annual growth rates in both local currency as well as US dollars on a market-by-market basis and on a region basis. We will also have data on a product category basis, sales methodology basis, and sales force size and composition. So again, more to do, but a giant leap forward. But the story of our industry's success goes well beyond the data. At the heart, it's a very human story of how we transform the lives of women and their families, helping them gain economic independence, often for the first time in their lives. 85% of all direct sellers in the world today are women. That is over 70 million women in 150 countries. One of the most important United Nations Millennium Development Goals is the empowerment of women, because when a woman's life improves, these benefits flow directly to her family and her community. In fact, every major global organization and every major world leader is focused on ways to empower women in order to spur economic and social progress. The simple and indisputable truth is that direct selling provides the largest economic development opportunity for women on earth. Each year, women earn over $60 billion running their own direct selling enterprises, and they use this money to feed and clothe their families and educate their children. This is micro-enterprise in action on a global scale because of all of our companies. That is the incredible power of our industry. We are the real thing. Now, proudly, we have to start talking about it. The job market erosion resulting from the failing global economy has created the perfect climate for this effort, and I'm certainly encouraged by the increased press coverage that we've been seeing for our industry as a result. I personally had the opportunity last September to talk about the power of our industry and direct selling at the Clinton Global Initiative before an audience of very influential global leaders, and I know that many of you have taken advantage of the exact same kinds of opportunities as well. To assist with these efforts to raise our public profile and provide grassroots platforms for our message, we, the World Federation, has created an exciting new initiative called appropriately the Global Women's Economic Empowerment Initiative. This initiative is being conducted in partnership with the Asia Pacific Economic Corporation, APEC, with whom World Federation DSA has worked so successfully on the past for several years on consumer initiatives. APEC has had 21 member economies, including the Pacific Rim and other developing economies, participate. And through the Global Women's Economic Empowerment Initiative, we have created a 7-week women's entrepreneurial development course. This course is based on video-based training supported by a comprehensive participant workbook, as well as a facilitator training workshop and a facilitator training guide. The creation of this entrepreneurial training program has been a massive effort, 3 years in the making. The program is now being piloted in Malaysia, led by the Malaysian DSA, in conjunction with the Small and Medium Enterprise Corporation. Following refinements based on the pilot, the Global Women's Economic Empowerment Initiative will be rolled out across all of the APEC countries in partnership with local DSAs, direct selling executives, who will serve as trainers and spokespeople for our industry. So it's been an exciting journey over the past 3 years. Together, we really have accomplished so much, advancing our industry's agenda, raising our visibility, and doing a lot to enhance the credibility of direct sales. As proud as I am of our global progress, I'm even prouder of all your progress here in Europe over the past 3 years. Under Philippe Jacquinet's able leadership, you've begun the important work of reunifying and strengthening our industry. I know that Celdia is more than just a new name. It signifies a new unity and a fresh start. It also begins to create a branding position for direct selling as an industry, offering earnings opportunities to over 12 million sales distributors through 1,000 direct selling companies across this region. I also want to commend you for aggressively and successfully driving our ethics agenda, including the establishment of a regional ethics committee and the designation of a European code administrator. So thank you. In addition, I want to acknowledge your outstanding industry advocacy during the development of the new EU Directive on Consumer Rights. The legislation achieves the goal of protecting consumers while also allowing direct selling to flourish. I know this was a challenging effort for all involved, and the outcome demonstrates the power